never met Aaron. Do you feel like, as a documentary filmmaker, you spend so much time with footage of a person, do you feel like you kind of know him?
It's weird. I do. Yeah, I do. And not only time with footage, but I've read his entire blog. And he was a very prolific writer. And I even went so far as to, at one point I learned his favorite book was this book, Moral Mazes, about middle management at corporations and how good people are often driven to do bad things.
Yeah.
True evil kind of comes from good people. And this anthropologist goes into these corporations in the 80s and kind of talks about this. And
people having morality nibbled away at it. Is that the kind of the thesis?
Or in positions where they are forced into these kinds of choices by the circumstances.
It's either do this or you don't have a job.
Or broken systems in general. Yeah. And it just really had this kind of echo for his own life and circumstances. But I did feel like I got a new. It's interesting looking at that much footage and just trying to understand somebody after they died. And I actually knew a lot of people that knew Aaron. And so, with all the footage and stuff, it was quite a journey learning about this complex individual.
How did you get a hold of his family, and how did you convince them to participate?
Yeah, so I was the film actually started about a week after Aaron died. I was on a panel talking about hacktivism with Aaron's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend Quinn Norton, who's in the film. And so I just started filming right away. I usually carry a camera with me, and I just started trying to understand this, this big wave of anger and frustration and sympathy that was just welling up out of the internet from all sorts of different places. I mean, even people that didn't know Aaron or non-technical communities his story seemed to resonate with them. So I just started filming, and then a few months later, I talked to his dad. I just reached out to his dad through some friends and had a long conversation with his dad that was really moving to me. I had just lost a friend to suicide about 4 months before. Actually, somebody that the IDA community probably knows, Brian Gerber, is a close friend of mine. And I didn't, at the time, understand why Brian would take his own life. I still don't, really. And so I was still sort of struggling with that, I guess, as a friend of Brian's. And I'd become a father myself, too, at a 4-month-old. And so talking to Aaron's dad was particularly emotional for me. I just lost a friend. He'd lost a son. I had a new son. My son had just been born. So it was that was the kind of emotional core of the beginning of this film. That's when I realized I was making a film.
That conversation must have made him feel like he could trust you to tell the story.
It did. It was probably an hour and a half, 2 hour. It was a long conversation. And we had multiple of those before we started filming.
Really?
Yeah.
What the first time they saw the film, I can only imagine that must have been really devastating for them.
It was, and I was very nervous myself, and it was a really early cut too. So there's part of it is the filmmaker thing of not being perfect yet.
Yeah.
But I felt we got into Sundance, and I felt like I wanted Aaron's mother and father to be the first to see it. And so I flew on by myself one day on a snowy night to Chicago, and we watched the film with Aaron's mom and dad just at their dinner table where Aaron grew up.
On a laptop?
Yeah, it was played off my laptop. We hooked it into we moved their TV onto. They wanted to watch it on the dinner table, so we sat there at the dinner table and watched this film, and that remains the most emotional screening that we've had.